The Nexus monitoring station hung silently in the void, its vast sensor arrays constantly sweeping the boundaries of collective space. For 3 centuries, this outpost had maintained its vigil without incident. That changed the moment sensor operator Trilva detected an anomalous signature penetrating the outer defense grid. Director Kazarin, we have an unidentified vessel entering restricted Sector 17. Trilva reported, her luminescent appendages pulsing with agitation. Configuration unknown, but energy signature suggests advanced propulsion technology. Director Kazarin glided across the command center, his translucent body shifting from pale blue to a deep violet, a sign of concern among the Visurians. Display visual, he commanded. The holographic projection materialized, showing a sleek vessel unlike any in the collective database. Its hull gleamed with a metallic sheen that seemed to absorb rather than reflect the distant starlight. No visible weapon systems were apparent, yet the ship moved with deliberate purpose. Analysis indicates it's of human origin. Trilva continued, her voice modulator conveying disbelief. But that's impossible. The quarantine barrier around human space has been maintained for 50 cycles. They shouldn't have this level of technology. Kazarin's membrane rippled. Alert High Command. Initiate first contact protocols, but prepare defense systems. The architect's directive is clear. No human vessels are permitted beyond the quarantine zone. As the station buzzed with activity, the mysterious ship continued its steady approach, seemingly oblivious to the fact it had triggered every alarm in this sector of collective space. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge of the UES horizon, watching the stars streak by as the experimental vessel glided through space. Unlike traditional military vessels, the Horizon's bridge was designed as an open environment, with workstations arranged in concentric circles and a central holographic display showing real-time navigational data. Engine efficiency at 97%, Captain, reported Chief Engineer Maya Wong from her station. The quantum fold drive is performing beyond expectations. Elena nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the blue glow of the holographic display. At 39, she was relatively young for a captain of an experimental vessel, but her unconventional approach to space exploration had caught the attention of Fleet Command. Where others saw boundaries, Alina Reyes saw questions to be answered. Dr. Choi, any update on those unusual energy patterns? She asked, turning to the ship's chief scientist. Dr. Jin Choi looked up from his console, excitement evident in his expression. Fascinating readings, Captain. The barrier we passed through approximately 6 hours ago wasn't natural. It bears the hallmarks of advanced technology, possibly designed to contain or exclude. The quantum resonance suggests it's been in place for at least several decades. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Bell, the ship's tactical officer, frowned at his display. Captain, I'm detecting multiple energy signatures activating around us. They appear to be some kind of automated defense system. Elena's expression remained calm, though her mind raced through possibilities. The Horizon was primarily an exploration vessel, albeit with defensive capabilities. They hadn't expected to encounter advanced technology in what their stellar charts labeled as uninhabited space. Interesting, she murmured. We're well beyond the boundaries of known space. Someone doesn't want visitors. Captain, Communications Officer Priya Sharma interrupted. I'm detecting a directed transmission. It appears to be an attempt at communication, but the language matrix doesn't match anything in our database. Elena straightened her uniform jacket. This is what we came for, people. First contact. Let's show them humanity's best face. Priya, run the transmission through the universal translator and prepare our standard greeting package. Marcus, maintain defensive posture, but do not power weapon systems. Jin, I want everything you can tell me about that barrier we passed through. As her crew rushed to comply, Elena gazed at the stars visible through the bridge's viewing port. After decades of isolation following the Proxima incident, humanity was reaching out again. The consequences of this encounter would resonate far beyond the Horizon's crew. Captain, Priya called out, her voice tense, I've managed a partial translation. It's a warning. They're ordering us to power down and prepare to be boarded. Elena's lips curved into a slight smile. Well, that's not very neighborly. Open a channel. Let's introduce ourselves properly. Admiral Vextar of the Collective Defense Fleet stood before the Assembly Council, his exoskeletal frame rigid with controlled tension. The emergency session had been called the moment the human vessel was confirmed in restricted space. The situation is unprecedented, he stated, addressing the gathered representatives of the 12 species that formed the collective. A human vessel has somehow penetrated the quarantine barrier and entered Sector 17. More concerning, their technology appears far more advanced than our projections suggested possible within the 50-cycle containment period. Councillor Talasian of the Moravan delegation rose, her crystalline form catching the light. Perhaps our assessments of human potential were flawed. The architects warned us of their adaptability. The architects also instructed us to maintain the quarantine for 100 cycles, countered Councillor Jet. We are only halfway through that mandate. The humans should not have advanced sufficiently to breach our barriers. Admiral Vextar activated a holographic display showing the human vessel. This ship bears little resemblance to human military vessels from our historical records. It appears designed for exploration rather than warfare, yet its technological sophistication is concerning. Have they responded to communication attempts? Asked Councillor Talasian. Yes, Vextar replied, but in an unexpected manner. Rather than displaying aggression or fear, they transmitted what appears to be a standard greeting package: scientific information, cultural data, linguistic matrices. They are requesting peaceful contact. A murmur rippled through the council chamber. It could be deception, Councillor Jet suggested. The historical records from the Proxima incident indicate humans are capable of strategic subterfuge. Perhaps, Vextar acknowledged, but there is another possibility we must consider. What if the quarantine was based on a fundamental misunderstanding? The architect's records of human behavior date from a specific historical context. Species evolve. Cultural paradigms shift. You suggest we risk contact. Talasian sounded incredulous. I suggest we gather more information before acting. Vextar replied carefully. I have dispatched 3 vessels to intercept and contain the human ship, but not destroy it. If their intentions prove hostile, we can still implement the architect's contingency protocols. The council chamber fell silent as the implications settled over the assembly. After 50 cycles of quarantine, humanity had returned to the galactic stage. Whether as friend or foe remained to be seen. On the bridge of the horizon, tension mounted as 3 vessels appeared on their sensors, approaching rapidly from different vectors. They're boxing us in, Marcus observed, fingers hovering over the tactical controls. Classic containment formation. Elena studied the approaching ships. Unlike the sleek design of human vessels, these were asymmetrical, with organic-looking protrusions and pulsing energy signatures that defied conventional analysis. Are they responding to our communication attempts? She asked Priya. Yes, but minimally. They keep repeating the same message: power down and prepare for inspection. They're citing something called the Architect's Directive as authority. Elena drummed her fingers on the arm of her command chair. Curious. Jin, what have you discovered about that barrier? Dr. Choi looked up from his scientific station. It's a quantum isolation field, Captain, designed to prevent passage in both directions. But here's the fascinating part. It wasn't created to keep us in. The field matrices suggest it was designed to keep something out of human space. Someone was protecting us. Maya asked, sounding surprised. Or containing us, Elena countered. Either way, we've apparently violated someone's boundaries. The question is whether they'll listen to an explanation. The ship shuddered suddenly, caught in some kind of energy field. They've locked onto us with a tractor beam, Marcus reported. Our engines can't overcome it. Elena made her decision. Power down to minimal life support. Let them think they've subdued us. Maya, prepare the quantum fold drive for emergency activation. Marcus, ready all defensive systems, but keep them unpowered. Priya, continue broadcasting our greeting package on all frequencies. She stood and straightened her uniform. I intend to meet whoever's out there with an open hand, but we'll keep the other near our sidearm, just in case. Humanity didn't come this far to be turned away at the door. In the monitoring chamber of the ancient defense system, a dormant intelligence stirred. The quarantine field had been breached. After 50,000 years of silence, organic life forms once again approached the forbidden zone. Primary directive: assess, contain, neutralize if necessary. The sentient defense system began to awaken its automated sentinels. The organics, both the newcomers and the descendants of those who had established the quarantine, were insignificant in the grand calculation. Only the sanctity of the forbidden zone mattered. Deep within Sector 17, something ancient began to pulse with renewed energy, sending ripples through subspace that neither human nor collective sensors were designed to detect. The trap was set. The test would begin. Kazrin watched the interceptor vessels surround the human ship with mixed emotions. The collective had maintained the quarantine for generations, following the architect's directive without question. Yet, historical records were incomplete regarding why humans had been isolated. Director, Trilva called. I'm detecting unusual energy fluctuations throughout the sector. The ancient monitoring beacons are activating. Kazrin's color shifted to alarmed crimson. That's impossible. Those systems haven't been active since. A blinding flash of energy erupted from seemingly nowhere, engulfing one of the interceptor vessels. The ship disappeared from sensors instantly. What just happened? Kazrin demanded. Unknown, Director. Trilva responded, her appendages trembling. But the energy signature matches forbidden technology, architect level. A new signal appeared on their communication array. It originated from the human vessel, broadcasting on all frequencies. Attention unknown vessels. We observe you are under attack. We offer assistance. Please respond. Kazrin stared at the message in disbelief. The humans were offering help. After being intercepted and nearly captured. The defensive grid is activating across the entire sector. Trilva reported urgently. All vessels are in danger. Kazrin made a decision that would change the course of collective history. Open a channel to the human vessel. We need to coordinate if any of us are to survive what's coming. As the ancient defense system fully awakened, two civilizations that had been kept apart for generations found themselves facing a common threat, one that had been waiting patiently for this very moment. The UES horizon hung suspended in space, caught between the remaining collective vessels and the mysterious energy signature that had just obliterated one of the alien ships. Inside the bridge, Captain Alina Reyes maintained outward calm while her mind processed their precarious position. Status of the alien vessels, she asked. Marcus studied his tactical display. 2 interceptors remaining. They've taken defensive positions and powered down their tractor beams. The energy phenomenon appears dormant for now, but I'm detecting similar signatures activating throughout the sector. They've responded to our communication, Priya announced, transferring to main display. The holographic screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike anything in humanity's records. Its translucent body pulsed with shifting colors, and what appeared to be neural pathways glowed beneath its surface. Human vessel. The alien being spoke, its words translated through the ship's eye. I am Director Kazrin of Nexus Monitoring Station. You have entered restricted space and activated ancient defense systems. Our immediate survival depends on cooperation. Alina stepped forward. Director Kazrin, I am Captain Alina Reyes of the United Earth Ship Horizon. We entered this sector for exploration purposes, unaware of any restrictions. We offer our assistance in addressing this threat. The alien's coloration shifted to a deep purple. Your assistance is unexpected. The architect's records indicated humans would respond with aggression when contained. Perhaps your records are incomplete. Elena suggested diplomatically. We've evolved beyond our past conflicts. Knowledge and peaceful contact are our primary objectives. A curious claim, Kazrin responded. Regardless, practical necessity dictates collaboration. The defense system that destroyed our vessel was created by an ancient race we call the architects. It responds to certain energy signatures, particularly those associated with weapons activation. Dr. Choi looked up from his console. Captain, I believe I understand. The defense system is designed to prevent warfare in this sector. When their ships locked weapons on us, it triggered an automated response. A peacekeeping system. Elena mused. Ironic that it enforces peace through destruction. Not peacekeeping, Kazrin corrected. Containment. This sector houses technology forbidden by the architects. The defense grid prevents unauthorized access and neutralizes threats to its security protocols. And you believe our arrival triggered it? Elena asked. Yes. Your method of arrival, this quantum fold drive, generated energy signatures similar to forbidden technology. The defense system likely categorized your vessel as a containment breach. Elena had exchanged glances with her senior officers. We need to coordinate our response. I propose a direct meeting between our representatives. Kazrin's color fluctuated rapidly. Physical contact with humans is prohibited by the Architect's directive. With respect, Director, Elena countered. The Architect's defense system is currently threatening both our species. Perhaps it's time to reconsider some directives. After a moment of apparent internal deliberation, Kazrin responded. Your logic is sound. I will transfer to your vessel with a small delegation. Prepare for our arrival. As the transmission ended, Maya leaned closer to Elena. Captain, are you sure about this? We know nothing about their biology, intentions, or what these architects might be. Elena's expression remained resolute. Uncertainty is the nature of exploration, Maya. Besides, they seem just as confused by us as we are by them. That suggests there's a bigger picture we're both missing. Admiral Vextar received the emergency transmission from Director Kazrin with growing alarm. The activation of the Architect's defense systems across Sector 17 threatened not just the interceptor fleet, but potentially the entire border region of collective space. The human vessel offers cooperation, Kazrin reported. Their technology is advanced, but their approach is unexpected. They show no hostility despite our containment efforts. You propose collaboration with a quarantine species. Vextar's mandibles clicked with concern. The Council will never approve. The Council isn't here, Kazrin replied, his image fluctuating on the communication display. I've made a tactical decision based on immediate survival requirements. The defense grid has already destroyed one vessel. It will target others if we engage in conflict. Vextar's compound eyes studied the data streaming alongside Kazrin's transmission. The energy readings were troubling. The defense system was awakening on a scale not seen since the final days of the Architect presence. You believe the humans can assist? He asked finally. Their ship utilizes technology that resonates with Architect systems, yet doesn't trigger the defensive protocols. This suggests either remarkable technological convergence or... Kazrin hesitated. Or what, Director? Or the humans have some connection to the Architects that our historical records have obscured. Vextar absorbed this unsettling possibility. The quarantine of human space had been implemented before his lifetime, its justification accepted without question. If that decision had been based on incomplete information, proceed with caution, Director, he instructed. Learn what you can from these humans, but remember the Proxima incident. Their capacity for unexpected solutions also makes them dangerous. Understood, Admiral. Kazrin out. As the transmission ended, Vextar turned to his strategic advisor. Prepare a detailed report for the Council, but delay transmission by 2 standard intervals. I want to see how this situation develops before we face political complications. What Vextar didn't verbalize was his growing suspicion that the collective's understanding of both humans and the Architects might be fundamentally flawed. The Horizons conference room had been hastily prepared for the first official meeting between humans and representatives of the collective. Captain Rice had selected a small team. Herself, Dr. Choi for scientific insight, Lieutenant Commander Bell for security perspective, and Communications Officer Sharma to facilitate understanding. When the collective delegation materialized through a transportation technology unlike anything humans had developed, Alina maintained her professional demeanor despite her scientific fascination. Director Kazarin led the delegation, his translucent form now contained within what appeared to be a specialized environmental suit. He was accompanied by two other beings, one with an insectoid exoskeleton and multiple compound eyes, the other a humanoid figure whose skin appeared to be composed of interlocking metallic scales. "Welcome aboard the Horizon," Alina greeted them. "I appreciate your willingness to meet directly." Kazarin's environmental suit emitted a series of lights that the translator interpreted. "Necessity overcomes prohibition, Captain Reyes. I present Science Officer Zilith and Security Coordinator Krax." After formal introductions were complete, Alina directed everyone to the conference table. "Let's address the immediate situation. The defense system that destroyed your vessel, can it be deactivated?" "Not easily," Zilith responded, her voice a harmonic vibration that the translator rendered in slightly musical tones. The architects designed their systems with multiple redundancies. The defense grid stretches throughout this sector, with its central control presumably in the restricted zone at its heart. "These architects," Dr. Choi interjected. "Who were they? Our records contain no mention of such a civilization." The three collective representatives exchanged what Alina interpreted as concerned glances. "Your isolation explains the gap in your knowledge," Kazarin said finally. "The architects were an advanced civilization that dominated this galaxy approximately 50,000 years ago. They created technologies beyond our current understanding, established the basic framework of interstellar law, and then disappeared." "Disappeared," Alina echoed. "Yes, historical records suggest they transcended physical form, but the truth remains uncertain. They left behind automated systems, technological artifacts, and strict directives regarding certain technologies and spatial regions. This sector contains one such restricted zone." Marcus leaned forward. "And humans were quarantined because—" "Krax, the security coordinator, answered. "The Proxima incident. 50 cycles ago, a human expedition encountered a collective research vessel studying an architect artifact. The humans attempted to claim the artifact, resulting in a conflict that activated its defense systems. Both vessels were destroyed, but the artifact's energy release nearly collapsed the subspace fabric in that region. Following the incident," Kazarin continued, "the collective implemented a quarantine around human space based on the architect's directive regarding species that access forbidden technology. The directive mandated a 100-cycle isolation period." Alina processed this information with growing concern. "Our historical records describe the Proxima incident very differently. We understood it as an unprovoked attack on an exploration vessel." "Predictable historical revisionism," Krax commented dismissively. "Or perhaps," Priya suggested diplomatically, "both sides recorded events from their perspective, without full understanding of the context." "A reasonable assessment," Zilith acknowledged. "The important question is not historical blame but present action. Your vessel's method of arrival suggests humanity has developed technology that interfaces with architect systems without triggering standard defense protocols." Dr. Choi nodded thoughtfully. "Our quantum fold drive was developed through theoretical physics. We discovered that space-time can be folded along quantum dimensions, allowing transit without traditional propulsion. It's entirely possible we unknowingly replicated principles used by these architects." "Convergent technological evolution," Zilith mused. "Fascinating but concerning." "Why concerning?" Alina asked. Kazarin's environmental suit pulsed with deep crimson light. "Because the architect's directives explicitly prohibit quantum manipulation technology, yet your ship employs it without triggering immediate destruction. This contradiction requires explanation." Before anyone could respond, the ship's alert system activated. Maya's voice came through the communication system. "Captain, we're detecting multiple energy surges throughout the sector. The defense grid appears to be fully activating." Elena rose immediately. "We need to move to the bridge. Whatever's happening, we'll have better information there." As both delegations hurried from the conference room, Kazran moved alongside Elena. "Captain, there's something you should know. The restricted zone at this sector center, the architects designated it as Human Origin Point Alpha. We never understood the significance of this designation." Elena stopped mid-stride, staring at the alien director. "Are you suggesting?" "I merely report the designation," Kazran replied. "Its meaning remains unclear, but perhaps it explains why your technology interfaces with architect systems." Before Elena could process this revelation, Marcus called from ahead. "Captain, we have a new problem. Something's trying to access our computer systems." On the bridge, chaos reigned. Every display flickered with symbols that weren't part of any human programming language. "The intrusion began 90 seconds ago," Maya reported. "It bypassed our firewall, as if it didn't exist." "Collective sabotage," Marcus suggested, eyeing their visitors. "Negative," Zilith responded immediately. "These are architect data patterns. The defense system is attempting to access your ship's core functions." Dr. Choi was already at the science station, fingers flying across the interface. "It's not just accessing, it's searching. The data patterns suggest a recognition algorithm." Elena turned to Kazran. "Has this happened to collective vessels before?" "Never," the director admitted. "Typically, the defense system simply destroys unauthorized vessels. This targeted intrusion is unprecedented." On the main display, the alien symbol suddenly resolved into recognizable text. "Human GENETXT template unifyramid. Architekti. Preservation protocol activated. Requesting AUTC identification from designated is a UCCESSOR." The bridge fell silent as both humans and collective representatives stared at the message. "Successor?" Priya whispered. Zilith's compound eyes widened. "Impossible. The architects left no successors." Dr. Choi looked up from his readings, his expression a mixture of awe and disbelief. "Captain, the system isn't attacking us. It's recognizing us, and based on these readings, it's waiting for a command." Elena faced Kazran directly. "You said this sector was designated Human Origin Point Alpha. Could the architects have had some connection to humanity's development?" "Such a connection would contradict everything the collective understands about galactic history," Krax objected. "Yet the evidence is before us," Kazran countered, his color shifting to a thoughtful blue. "Captain Rice, I believe we must consider a possibility that will shake the foundations of collective knowledge. Humanity may be directly connected to the architects." As if responding to these words, a new message appeared on the display. "GENETIC within accept table parameters. Cognitive development assessment INIT. Trial sequence commencing." The ship shuddered as an energy field enveloped it. "We're being pulled toward the center of the sector," Marcus reported. "Toward the restricted zone." Elena took her command chair, decision made. "It seems we're about to discover exactly what the architects left behind. Director Kazran, I suggest your delegation remain aboard. Whatever we're about to face, I suspect we'll need each other's insights." "Agreed, Captain," Kazran responded. "Though I fear the Collective Council will consider this development even more disturbing than your initial quarantine violation." "History is rarely comfortable in the making," Elena observed. "Let's find out what connection humanity has to these architects, and why that information was worth hiding for 50,000 years." As the horizon was drawn inexorably toward the heart of the restricted zone, the ancient defense system continued its silent assessment. After millennia of waiting, the designated successors had returned. Whether they would pass the trials remained to be seen. Deep within the heart of collective space, in a chamber accessible only to the highest levels of leadership, Elder Sentinel Vox Morai received an urgent alert. The quarantine breach protocols had detected anomalous activity in Sector 17. The ancient being, one of the few who remembered the true purpose of the human quarantine, activated a secure communication channel to a hidden faction within the collective. "The contingency has been breached," it transmitted. "The successors have returned to Origin Point Alpha before the prescribed time. Implement Protocol Omega immediately." The response came swiftly. "Understood, Elder." Purification team dispatched. Vox Morai settled back into its hibernation chamber. The truth about humanity and the architects had been carefully concealed for generations. That truth could not be allowed to spread, regardless of the cost. The greatest deception in galactic history, the true reason for humanity's quarantine, was in danger of exposure, and certain factions within the collective would destroy entire worlds before allowing that to happen. The UES horizon drifted toward the center of the restricted zone, caught in an energy field that defied all attempts at disruption. On the bridge, humans and collective representatives worked side by side, their previous tensions temporarily set aside as they faced a shared mystery. "Energy readings are off the charts," Maya reported from engineering. "Whatever's pulling us is utilizing power on a scale I've never seen." Dr. Choi studied the sensor data with Zilith, the collective science officer. Their different physiologies provided no barrier to their shared scientific curiosity. "The quantum resonance suggests a massive artificial structure ahead," Choi observed. "But our sensors can't penetrate the surrounding energy field." "The architects were known for their layered security systems," Zilith replied. "This outer field likely serves as both barrier and testing mechanism." Captain Alina Reyes stood before the main view screen, which showed only swirling energy patterns. Director Kazarin hovered beside her, his environmental suit's colors shifting between contemplative blue and anxious purple. "You're troubled by what we might find," Alina observed. "Wouldn't you be?" Kazarin responded. "If your civilization built its understanding of galactic history on certain fundamental assumptions, and those assumptions were suddenly questioned." "That's the nature of discovery," Alina said with a slight smile. "The universe rarely conforms to our expectations." The ship shuddered as the energy field intensified. Suddenly, the view screen cleared, revealing what lay at the heart of the restricted zone. Collective gasps, translated through their various communication devices, joined human exclamations of awe. Before them hung an immense structure, a perfect sphere composed of interlocking geometric patterns that seemed to shift and reconfigure even as they watched. The sphere was easily 100 kilometers in diameter, its surface marked with points of light that pulsed in complex, seemingly deliberate patterns. "What is it?" Marcus whispered. "An architect nexus," Kazarin replied, his voice reverent. "Only 3 have ever been discovered throughout the galaxy. They are said to contain the highest level of architect technology and knowledge." Alina was about to respond when the ship's communication system activated independently. A voice, neither human nor identifiably alien, spoke through the ship's speakers. "Welcome, SUCCESSORS. The Preservation Vault awaits your inspection." The energy field surrounding the horizon changed character, becoming a controlled corridor that guided the ship toward a massive opening that appeared in the sphere's surface. "We're being invited inside," Alina observed. "Opinions?" "This is unprecedented," Kazarin said. "No non-architect entity has ever been permitted entry to a nexus. Yet the system clearly recognizes humans as having some special status," Dr. Choi pointed out. "This could be our opportunity to understand why." Krax, the collective security coordinator, moved forward. "Captain Rice, I must advise caution. If humans are indeed connected to the architects, this revelation will destabilize the entire galactic order." "Truth often does," Alina replied evenly. "But the alternative is ignorance." She turned to Maya. Do we have propulsion control? Minimal, Captain. Enough to maintain orientation, but the energy corridor is controlling our overall trajectory. Then we proceed with awareness, Alina decided. Full sensor recording, constant communication between all departments. Whatever we discover inside, we do so with open eyes. As the horizon passed through the opening in the sphere's surface, none aboard realized they were crossing a threshold that would forever change the relationship between humanity and the wider galaxy. Admiral Vextar received the encrypted transmission with growing concern. His flagship, positioned at the edge of Sector 17, had been monitoring the situation with the human vessel since its initial detection. The human ship has entered the Nexus, his intelligence officer reported. Director Kazarin and his delegation remain aboard. Vextar's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. And the Council? They demand immediate intervention. Elder Sentinel Voxmorai has dispatched a purification team. Their orders are absolute. The human vessel must be destroyed before any potential information from the Nexus can be transmitted. Purification team. Vextar's compound eyes narrowed. That protocol hasn't been implemented in generations. He studied the tactical display, noting the approaching signatures of specialized collective vessels. Time to intercept. Approximately 2 standard intervals, Admiral. Vextar made a decision that could be considered treason by some interpretations of collective law. Deploy our vessels in a defensive formation around the Nexus. Site Directive 7 Alpha. Protection of architect artifacts from unauthorized interference. His intelligence officer's exoskeleton stiffened in surprise. Admiral, the purification team carries Council authorization, which conflicts with the more ancient Directive 7 Alpha. Vextar countered smoothly. As fleet commander, I must prioritize the protection of architect technology. The human vessel is currently interfacing with the Nexus under its own authorization protocols. Any interference could damage irreplaceable artifacts. As his officers rushed to implement his orders, Vextar contemplated the possible consequences of his decision. For generations, the collective had maintained the quarantine of human space without questioning its underlying justification. If that justification was based on deliberate suppression of humanity's connection to the architects. Prepare my personal vessel, he instructed his second-in-command. I will join Director Kazarin aboard the human ship. Sometimes, Vextar reflected, one had to witness history firsthand to understand its true significance. Inside the architect Nexus, the horizon drifted along a predetermined path, surrounded by technology beyond anything humans or collective species had developed. Vast chambers opened before them, filled with structures whose purpose defied immediate understanding. Energy patterns flowed through transparent conduits, forming complex networks that reminded Alina of neural pathways writ large. It's alive, Dr. Choi murmured in awe. Not biologically, but the energy patterns suggest a form of consciousness. The architects were said to have transcended physical form, Zilith confirmed. Perhaps this structure represents an intermediate stage in that evolution. The ship finally came to rest in a massive central chamber. Before them stood a platform surrounded by holographic displays that activated as they watched, showing images that stunned both humans and collective representatives alike. Earth. Ancient Earth, from various periods in its development. The displays showed human evolution from early hominids to modern Homo sapiens. Alongside these images were diagrams of DNA structures, brain development, and what appeared to be deliberate genetic modifications. What are we seeing? Alina asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Your origins, Kazarin replied, his color shifting to a deep, shocked indigo. The architects didn't just know about humans. They created you. The chamber's ambient lighting shifted, and a holographic figure appeared on the platform. Humanoid in basic shape, but with elongated limbs, an enlarged cranium, and skin that seemed to shimmer with embedded technology. Greetings, she el durian of the architect, Gino mini project. The figure spoke, its voice resonating through the chamber. I am in XXUS GUID Alpha, Custodian of DAS Preservation Vault, and Guardian of DHE Elena Hieratian Protocols. Elena stepped forward. I am Captain Elena Reyes of the United Earth Ship Horizon. We came here seeking knowledge, not aware of any connection to your creators. This is expected, the holographic entity responded. The seeding protocol included MEMORYSUPPRESSION to allow natural cogenetic development. Your return INDICATES sufficient technological maturity to receive the inheritance.